It is 4:47 in the morning. The city is not awake yet. But you are. You have been awake for 40 minutes already, lying in the dark, running numbers in your head that have nothing to do with your alarm clock. The market opens in 4 hours and 13 minutes. You already know what you are going to do when it does. You have known since last night. The question is whether the market knows what you are going to do. And that question, that single, unanswerable question, is the thing that makes this life impossible to explain to anyone who has not lived it. This is your life at every level of a Wall Street trader, from the first day you walk onto the floor to the day the floor belongs to you. Level 1, the intern. You are 22 years old. You went to a good school. You wore your best suit to 3 rounds of interviews and answered questions about your greatest weakness with something rehearsed and unconvincing, and they hired you anyway. You are making $55,000 a year in one of the most expensive cities on earth. After taxes, after rent, after the dry cleaning bill that nobody warned you about, you have $400 left at the end of the month and no time to spend it. You arrive at 6 in the morning. You leave at 9 at night. You get coffee for people whose bonus last year was larger than your parents' house. You watch the screens. You listen. You try to absorb everything without looking like you are absorbing everything, because looking eager is somehow worse than looking incompetent in this building. Here is what nobody tells you at this level. The work is not the job. The work is just the entry fee. The real job is learning how the room thinks, who defers to whom, which senior trader's instincts are worth following, and which ones are loud and wrong and protected by tenure. You are being evaluated not just on what you know, but on whether you belong here. And belonging is not something you can study for. It is something you either develop or you don't. You are surviving, just barely, but you are inside the building, and that is everything. Level 2, the junior trader. 2 years in, maybe 3. You have been given a small book, a real position, actual capital that is not yours, but that you are responsible for. The number is somewhere between $1 and $5 million of exposure. It sounds enormous from the outside. From the inside, it is a test, a small one. The firm is watching to see if you panic, if you revenge trade, if you size up after a loss trying to make it back in a single afternoon. These are the mistakes that end careers at this level, and nobody announces them. One day, the person just is not there anymore. Your salary is somewhere between $80,000 and $120,000. Your bonus last year was $40,000. You spent most of it on things that made you feel like you had arrived somewhere. You have not arrived yet. You are still in transit. The strange part is this. You are starting to develop a feel for the market that you cannot fully articulate. It is not intuition in the mystical sense. It is pattern recognition built from watching the same instrument move the same way in the same conditions enough times that your brain has started to pre-process it. You see something in the order flow before you can explain why you see it, and when you act on it and it works, the feeling is unlike anything else in the world. Better than the salary, better than the bonus, better than anything external. That feeling is dangerous and valuable, and you cannot tell yet which one it is more of. Level 3, the developing trader. You have survived long enough to have a reputation inside the building. Not a big one, but real. People know your name who are not in your immediate group. You have had a losing month that did not end your career, and that survival itself built something in you that good months never could. You know what it feels like to be down, and to manage it rather than collapse under it. And that knowledge separates you from half the people who started with you. Your book is between $10 and $30 million now. Your compensation is somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000 total. You have paid off your student loans. You have a better apartment. You are starting to save in a way that is intentional rather than accidental. Here is the hidden truth at this level. Most traders who make it to level 3 believe they are better than they are. Not because they are arrogant by nature, but because the market has been cooperative enough that their skill and the market's generosity have been indistinguishable. The traders who survive to level 5 are the ones who figure out which parts of their returns were them and which parts were the environment. That is one of the hardest intellectual problems in finance, and most people get it wrong. You are doing well. You do not yet know exactly why. That uncertainty is healthy. Hold on to it. Level 4. The Established Trader. Your book is real money now. $50 to $150 million in exposure. Your decisions move prices in the instruments you trade. You are no longer a participant observing the market. You are, in a measurable way, part of the market itself. And that changes the psychology of every single trade you make. Your total compensation last year was somewhere between $600,000 and $1.2 million. The number feels abstract even to you sometimes. You grew up in a house where that was not a number anyone ever said out loud, and now it arrives annually as a fact of your life that you have not fully integrated. This is where it changes, not just financially, existentially. The pressure at this level is qualitatively different from anything below it. The losses are larger, the scrutiny is sharper. The conversations with management after a difficult quarter are no longer gentle. You are expected to perform because you are paid to perform, and the distance between expectation and reality is where careers end quietly and permanently at this level. You have developed rituals, things you do before the open, things you do after a losing day, things you never do on the trading desk because you learned what happens when you do them. You are superstitious in ways you would never admit publicly, and scientific in ways that look like superstition from the outside. You have a system, not a perfect one, but yours. Your personal life has absorbed the cost of all of this in ways you are only beginning to account for. You are present less than you should be. You think about positions during conversations that deserve your full attention. The market follows you home every night and leaves sometime around 2 a.m. and comes back at 4:47 without being invited. Level 5. The Senior Trader. One of maybe 10 people at this level in your firm. Your book is between $250 million and $1 billion. You have been through at least 2 major market events, a crisis, a flash crash, a moment when the screens showed numbers that did not seem real and every instinct in the building was wrong simultaneously, and the people who survived were the ones who went flat and waited. You survived. And surviving those moments made you a different kind of trader than the ones who only traded in calm markets. Your compensation in a good year is somewhere between $2 and $5 million. In a great year, it is more. In a bad year, the conversation is different, and you have been in that conversation once, and you do not want to be in it again. The financial security is real now, generational in its implications. Your children will start differently than you did. That matters to you in a way you did not expect it to. Nobody says this out loud at this level, but the money has stopped being the motivating thing. What motivates you now is the problem itself. The market is the most complex adaptive system that human beings have ever created, and you have spent 15 years developing a relationship with it that is closer and more demanding than most human relationships in your life. Leaving it would feel like losing a language you spent your whole adult life learning to speak. Read that again. The market became a language, and you became fluent. And fluency in something that complex and that rewarding is not something you walk away from for money. You stay because the problem is still interesting, because the market keeps changing, because every morning at 4:47 there is something new to solve. Level 6. The Portfolio Manager. You run a book now that is measured in billions. You have a team, junior traders who remind you of yourself at level 1 and level 2, and you watch them make the mistakes you made, and you intervene sometimes and let it play out other times because you know that some lessons cannot be taught. They can only be experienced. Your compensation structure has changed. You are not on a straight salary and bonus anymore. You are on a percentage of profits, which means in an exceptional year, the number becomes something that does not feel like a salary at all. It feels like ownership, because it is. Your name is known outside your firm now, in the way that names get known in finance. Not famous, not public, but known in the rooms that matter. Headhunters call. Other firms send messages through intermediaries. You have turned down 2 approaches in the last 18 months because what you have built here is not easily replicated elsewhere. The strange part at this level is silence. The higher you go in this world, the quieter it gets. The junior traders are loud and certain and hungry. The senior ones are quiet and probabilistic and patient. The best traders you know are the ones who say the least and think the longest and act with a precision that looks effortless from the outside and costs everything on the inside. Level 7, the legend. There is no formal title for what you are now. The titles stopped meaning anything several levels ago. What you are is a person who has been tested by every market condition that exists and has not broken, who has made decisions with billions of dollars at stake and lived with the outcomes, who has been wrong in spectacular ways and right in ways that became case studies, who has seen the market do things that the models said were impossible and adapted in real time while others froze. Your personal net worth is somewhere between $50 and $200 million. The number is managed rather than counted now. Trusts, investments in other funds, real estate, a family office that someone else runs on your behalf because your time is worth more than the management of your own money. But here is what the number does not show. The cost of this life is real, and it was paid in a currency that does not appear on any balance sheet. Time. Presence. Versions of yourself that existed before the market absorbed them. Relationships that needed more than you had left to give after the desk took what it took. You made choices that were right for the portfolio and complicated for everything else. And you would make most of them again, and that is the most honest thing you can say about it. It is 4:47 in the morning again. Somewhere in this city, a 22-year-old in their best suit is setting 3 alarms because they cannot afford to be late on their first day. They do not know yet what this life costs. They do not know yet what it gives. They do not know that the market they are about to meet will become the defining relationship of their adult life. The screens are the same screens they have always been. The numbers change every second. The person watching them changes every year. And somewhere between the first trade and the last one, the market takes everything it needs and gives back something that cannot be found anywhere else.